By now you're about 8 minutes into your lesson, and the next step is guided reading. Finally, as I mentioned earlier, guided reading is probably the most difficult section of a Next Steps triad to do. But with some careful planning and some practice, it can work extremely effectively. Remember that the goal of guided reading is for each student to consume as much text on their instructional levels as possible. In order to make this happen, you need to establish some very clear procedures early on and take the time to make sure that students know what those procedures are and what you expect of them at different points in the lesson. In particular, it means training your students such that when they're in a partnership situation reading, where they alternate loud voice and soft voice, they know exactly what to do in terms of how those voices should sound, the fact that you and the other partner need to be able to hear their voices, that they need to be either tracking with their fingers or using some kind of transparency, or perhaps just their eyes. And that at the end of the page, it's important that they know that one of them turns to the other and says, "What happened on that page?" or "Tell me 2 things that happened on that page." If those partners know exactly what to do, that frees you up to let go of that situation and be working very intensely with that target student. One of the reasons you feel okay about doing this is because you know that each student is going to cycle around to you as a target every 3rd session. And so you'll have that very luxurious one-on-one time with each student every 3rd lesson. That means, however, making sure that your partners know what they're doing, and of course it means an occasional eyeball in their direction to make sure that they are on task. If you can't hear one of the partners reading, you might need to just gesture and say, "Speak up." The partners can remind each other about this if they get off task a little bit. Sometimes just simply reaching over and tapping one of their books gets them back on task. But we found that this is really where a lot of the power of this particular intervention model comes from. That all 3 students are reading 20 minutes or so of instructional level text on task, and that every 3rd day you get the opportunity to work with each student individually, take rate and accuracy data on that student, work on fluency, expression, comprehension, etc., while the partners are busy working on the very same piece of text and busy for the entire 20 minutes as well. Braden, you be leader out today. Start here. Okay, Mike, so what's your role while Braden's reading as the leader with the loud voice? What are you doing?
Whispering.
Whisper reading. Okay, so I need to see your mouth and hear your voice. And if you guys can't hear the whisperer when you're working today, just say, "Hey, speak up a little bit." Okay? And what are you going to do when you come to the end of each page?
Ask, what is the what happened in this part?
Right. Okay. So you're all set? You're going to do great. All right, you're with me, bud.
If we get a railroad, maybe we have a station someday, he said, and maybe the Tokyo Express will stop here. Will it? Sumi wondered. No one knew, so Sumi said, I will ask tomorrow.
No one knew.
What happened on this page?
Said, I will ask
maybe we will have a station someday, he said, and maybe the Tokyo Express will stop here. Will it? Sumi wondered. No one knew, so Sumi said, I will ask tomorrow. What happened on this page?
He said there might be an express station that stops right there.
So Sumi said, I will ask tomorrow.
Good job. Keep going.
Wait, no.
When Sumi got to school the next day, she asked Mr. Mayor if
you got what part
the
we read, but what about
would
up here where
even stop at their village.
This word trick to start here. If the express.
If the express would even
Ever
stop at the village.
Okay, so stop here. Start here. She asked Mr.
She
Mayor.
asked Mr. Mayor if the express would ever stop at the village. Mr. Mayor shook
when
his
Sumi
head.
got
No,
to
it
school
is
the next day,
high-speed
she asked
express,
Mr. Mayor if the express would ever stop at their village. Mr. Mayor shook his head. No, it is a high-speed express, and it will stop only at a few large cities he planted. It will never stop here then, Sumi asked. I'm afraid not, Mr. Mayor answered. My father
what's she finding out about
told me Yako
Is it ever going to stop in her village?
announced it will never ever stop in Suji land.
Now the
Suji what?
Village. Okay, what happened in this part?
She went to school, asked the mayor if the train would ever stop here, and he said no because it's a high train
was
station,
dug
and it would just
through
go
the
past them
mountain.
because they can't
Tracks
stop in
were
every little place.
led across
Right.
what was once
Next page. I
a
whisper.
rice
You read.
field at the edge of
Now
the
the wait
village. Every
Now
day
the wait for the express began.
and his
Soon a
friends
tunnel
watched
was
the
dug
watched
through
the
the mountain.
work and
Tracks
the
were laid across what
and
was
sometimes
what
Sumi
was
went
once
with them.
Good
a
job.
rice field.
Filled
At the edge of the village
every day.
Whenever Sumi
Taro
watched the
and
work
his
on the
friends
tracks, she
the
stopped at
work on
Mr.
the
Otis
railroad
to tell
and
him how
Sumi
it
went
was
with
coming
them.
along, and she
what happened?
always saw
Okay,
Mikey
they every time they walk,
tied
they
to
would
the
walk to the
plum tree
place
looking
to
for
watch.
grass.
They
Good.
If
seen
you
all the
could only
laid
do
down,
something
laid
more
out, and then,
exciting, Sumi would say to the goat,
his brothers and
she
them went
would
to see
tell
him work on
Mr.
it.
Oda
Am I right?
the express
Next
will
page.
be coming soon, but
Okay.
it wouldn't
Whenever
stop
Sumi
here.
watched
Mr. Oda
the work
always
on
listened
the tracks,
very
she
carefully.
stopped
It
at
does
Mr.
seem
Oda's
unfriendly
house to tell
of
him
it
how
not to
it
stop,
was coming along.
even when
And
once
she
he said,
always was.
Sumi
Nikki
nodded. It was
tried
most
to plumb
unfriendly
trees,
of
looking for
it to
grass.
go by
Find you
as
could
though
only, if you could only
the
do something more.
village wasn't even
Expanding.
through
Wasn't
Exciting.
even.
Sumi would say
there
to
more
the goat,
and more.
and
Sumi
she
began
would
to think
tell
of the
Mr.
train
Oda
as
the express
unfriendly
will
express.
be
So
coming
why is
soon,
Sumi
but
kind of
it
not real
won't
excited
stop
about this
here.
train anymore?
It does.
Because it just
does
keeps going and doesn't stop.
What
Mr.
would she
Oda
like it to
always
do?
listens to
Stop
every
there and pick people up.
careful.
Yeah, exactly.
It
All right,
does
keep going. You're doing
seem
great.
unfriendly of it not to stop, even
Before
once
long, the
he
tracks
said.
were
Sumi
finished
nodded. It was
along
most
the edge of the village.
nodded. It was
Finally,
most
one
unfriendly
cold morning,
of
the first
it
express
to
came
go
through.
by
The who school
as
went out to
the
watch the
Sugi
beautiful blue
village
train
wasn't
glide
even
by.
there
It
more
glided
and
the
more.
rail
Sumi
like
began
a
to
thread
think of the
on
train
ice,
as
making
the
only a
friendly
wings
express.
sound
What happened in
as
this part?
it raced by the children as
They would
shouted and
every day they would stop by the
waved, but
track
the
and
train
see what they were doing.
by
Then
by
Sumi would go to
weather
Mr. Oda's
without
house
even slowing
and
down.
So
tell
the
him what
first
was
day the
going
train
on.
came by, what did everybody in the
And
school do?
She saw
Went out and
the
waved to it. and
Right.
stuff,
The
but
goat
one didn't
tied
slow
up to
down.
Doesn't even
Mickey
slow.
tied up
Keep
to
going,
the
you're doing great.
plum tree. Yeah.
Each day knew the children.
This is true, can you stay here?
Each day now
Am
the children
I reading it? Are
listened
you reading it?
for
I'm reading
the
it.
sound of the express first. There was
Before long, the tracks were finished
sound
along the
of
edge
the
of the
train
village.
going
Finally,
north.
one
Then there was a
morning when the first express
sound
came
of
through.
the
The
train
whole school
traveling
went out to
south. At
watch
first,
the
the children
beautiful blue
looked
train
out the
glide
window,
by. It glided on
waving
the
Try
rails.
this.
On the
whenever
rails,
Slide
the
on
express
like ice.
went
Sliding
by.
Okay, so
only
start here. Listen
At
to me.
first,
Listen to me
we-
for just a sec. At first, the children
sound
looked out
as
the
it
window
raced
whenever
by.
the express went
The
by.
children all shouted
But
at
after a
it
few
and
weeks,
waved,
they
but
forgot
the
to
train
listen
went
anymore.
back
So
by
start right there.
without
At first, the children
slowing
looked
down.
out the window whenever the express went by, but after a few weeks, they forgot to listen.
Did you already talk about that page?
Yeah,
Wait, what happened on that page?
Well, on the express,
Tokyo.
the first
Tokyo
express came
had
coming
new
down,
because
and
just
it went in front of
another
the school, and
sound
they
of the
went out and
village.
cheered
This-
for it, and
This one
all
tricked us, so
that.
try that
And
again. The Tokyo.
train didn't
The
even
Tokyo
slow down.
Express had now become just another sound of
Read
the
out loud on
village.
this.
Okay, let's try a little bit
Wait.
part of this again. I'm going to read for you, and actually we're going to do this one because these guys are here. Okay, you ready, Mike?
Yeah.
Okay, you're out loud. Okay, let's watch me. Before long, the tracks were finished.
Each day
along
now the
edge of
children
village.
listened
Ooh, I know.
for
You know,
the
we're gonna
sound
practice
of the
actually.
express first.
Yeah,
There
this is good
was
because it's part of
the
the
wishing wing
Before
sound
long,
of the train
tracks were finished along the
train
edge
going
of the village.
north.
Finally, one
Then
cold morning,
there
the first express
was
came
a
through. The
wing
whole school went out to
sound
watch
of
the beautiful
the
blue train glide by.
traveling
Picture.
south.
long,
First,
the
the
tracks
child looked out
were
the
finished
window.
along the edge of the
Everything
village.
Whenever
Finally,
whenever
one cold
the
morning,
express went by, but
the
after
first
a
express
few
came through.
weeks,
The
they
whole
forgot
school went
to
out
listen
watch the
anymore. The
beautiful blue
Tokyo
train glide
Express
by.
had
Good,
no
excellent. Really nice.
become just another sound of the village.
All right, so let's chat about this for a second. Thumbs ready. What do you think is Sumi's problem now? It's kind of key. There's been some changes going on. What are you thinking, Mark?
That the whole school went out to wave to the train as it went by, but it didn't even slow down.
Mm-hmm. Okay, keep going, Brayden. You want to add something to that? So why is that a problem?
Because she's jealous of him still, because he's always right.
Of who?
Of Ayako. Sumi is always,
She wants something exciting, right?
yeah, to tell about.
Mm-hmm. Well, what would she really like to have happen that would be exciting? Go ahead.
The express to stop and let them get on.
Why do you think the express isn't stopping? Mike, what do you think?
Oh, because it's going to village to village.
Well, it's going village to village, but does it stop in every village?
No.
Where's it going to?
Tokyo.
Which is the capital city. Why doesn't it stop in their village? Braid, what do you think?
Because, oh man, I just lost it.
That's okay. Well, do they?
Oh yeah, I got
Go
it.
ahead.
Because, they can't slow down fast enough because they're going really fast.
They're going really fast, but they slow down when they get to Tokyo. Mike, what do you think? Sorry.
I'm not thinking, but does Mark get the comfy chair?
We're not worrying about chairs or anything today, okay? All right, so does Sumi live in a big village?
Not
I mean, does
really,
she live in a big place with a lot of people?
Not really.
So why do you think the train's not stopping there?
because it's
Because
little.
there's not a lot.
Not a lot of people. It's a little town. This train is an express train. It's going to big towns back and forth. So after a while, the first day the kids run out and see, oh, it's the train. But does the train stop? No.
No, but it passed a week. They stopped.
What's that?
Past a week they stopped. They
They didn't stop. They didn't stop.
They don't stop. It hasn't stopped.
No.
So it
They
just
didn't
goes.
listen
Yeah, that's
stopped
right.
listening.
Why did you think they stopped listening?
because it got annoying.
Maybe, got annoying. What else?
Because Express wasn't cool after. Wasn't cool anymore.
That's right. What else, Mark?
Brainstorming.
Yeah. Do they notice?
Nope.
There's no reason to notice, right? Okay, let's get going with our words. Sometimes the partners will get to the stopping place ahead of you and your target student. If that's the case, just remind them that they need to go back to the top of the page, switch roles, and read down through that page again. That'll allow you and your target student time to catch up. You can work with your target students such that you speed up or slow down to match the pace of the partnership quite easily. For example, if you find that you and your target student are ahead of the partnership, you can stop and do more comprehension work, do some reverse echo to work on expression, and that will slow you and the target down such that the partnership can catch up.